Let's look at this map. We're looking at an area in Michigan, and I'm going to break down what I like about the way the habitat is laying on the map, what the options are that the birds have, and which one gives the most options for the birds and for us as hunters. So let's start out with the bottom cut. So here's this cut. It's a 2013, 164 acres. You have lots of access. You have access to the back end in two areas right here. You have another access here. You have a trail that comes through the middle of it right here. You've got access that would come off here. You'd park there and you go through the older aspen and then into the cut. And more than likely there was a staging area right in here for the trucks to come in and load up and then go back out. So there's a lot of access to this cut. So you could be working in one area and not realizing someone's coming in the back area. So that's one thing to consider. The other part is you have hardwoods here, hardwoods over here, but you really don't have a whole lot of lowland conifer, at least up in here. I suspect there could be some down to the south here. You do have some older cuts here, right there, and an older cut there, where birds could transition from something that's gotten too old into younger habitat. So you do have that going for it. But you don't have a lot of diversity in the habitat around this cut. And you don't have a lot of little funnels that sometimes the way the land is, it creates it, like these little areas right here, but it doesn't really go far enough. Areas like this. Natural escape areas for the birds is what I'm looking for. So now you know what I think of this 2013. Let's look at these 2011 and 2011. But let's first start with the 2000s. Those are cuts that have aged out. No, they're not big cuts, obviously, 24 and 33. But it's a pretty big deal about those cuts because what they have is there's a lot of protection around these cuts. You have cedar coming right down through the middle here. You have lowland spruce fir. Same thing over here. You have cedar up here. What these cuts had is options for birds. Birds could easily go over here when the weather got bad or they were trying to escape. Same thing here. They don't have to hardly shift at all to basically to disappear into the lowland conifer. Now that's an asset for any bird, whether it's predators or bad weather. So you have that going for them. So now you've got these 2011s, these two 2011 cuts. And what I like, let's start out with the lower one, the 46 acre cut. I like the cedar along. So I know I have a defined lowland edge right here. And this is where the birds are really going to want to go. You go to the hardwoods, it's a little more open. So the 2024 and the 2033, those birds are going to try to shift into either one of these cuts, find new habitat. So now you have a source of where birds can come from and then start to develop new areas. So you have these edges right here. You have a very defined edge. But look at this. You got this little area that comes back into that lowland swamp fir. Nice. You know, if you walk down through here, and let's just say your dog gets birdie there, but not really that much. More than likely, if you don't follow it up, you'll find out the bird will just go out to the end here. And one flush, boom, he's in the thick stuff and you're done. Well, if you had a partner and it's close enough, dog gets birdie right in here, you could send the partner over down to the end to get to the end of it. So now you got the bird in between. So the bird's either going to fly overhead or it's going to over to here or over to here. Basically, you have a way of funneling and controlling a little bit of the hunt as to how your dog is working it. So there's that. So I like these funnels. I like this here. Birds will run through this and get to a certain point, but after running these longer ones, typically when they do flush, they're going to flush far because they know they got more open habitat. But a lot of times they'll flush back because they know where the cedar is. And that tells you that they're going to go to where it's dense. This is not going to typically be as dense as the cedar will be. The lower you go, the denser it gets. This area up here with the cedar, options. You could put one person on one side and one person, okay, you come off on this side, dog's birdie, let the dog in there, run the edges and that, and just try to get ahead of it, because those birds are going to learn very quickly to run a pattern. They typically will run right on the edge and then peel in. You don't have much room here. It's a very close area right in here, so you should have some good shooting. So you come back down around. Here's another dip up in here. Birds will peel off up into there, into there. Anything wants to get away from pressure. And as you move forward, they're going to split. They're going to go forward or they're going to split to the left or the right. Same thing here. Birds are going to split into here. Birds will definitely split into this right here and up into here. So having this cedar and this lowland conifer and all these dips in and out that are following these edges, you have a ton of edges to work. And the edges, when you think about it, these birds come in from the edge, mess around a little bit, and then they go back down to the cedar. Should be an elevation change here, because cedar typically is lower elevation, and the swamp, lowland spruce and fir will be lower elevation, like a little bit of a downward. It's probably gradual, knowing this area. You have areas here that you can just work around. And if you push a lot of birds this way, you can actually walk through the hardwoods and push them back, or get them right here on the trail. This cut down here is boring. These cuts up here offer all sorts of opportunity for a grouse. And that's what you got to think about when you hunt an area. How much opportunity does the lay of these cuts offer the grouse in upping their chances of survival? So this is what I wanted to show you. There's really differences in habitat, but there's also differences in clear cuts. And knowing what's around these cuts can help you plan. Just really a nice lay for these cuts right here. That's my comparison of the two cuts. Boring, very interesting up here.